Okay, good morning, everybody. It is April 17th, 2025. I'm Chad Milner, Engineering Director. We're going to talk about the Vernon Avenue I-100 Interchange project. This is update meeting number 2 of many more to come. So every other week, we're going to have these update meetings. And just an FYI, we are recording these, and then we're going to post them to the website for people that are unable to attend this meeting. So the project goals, improve safety and mobility of all users, create new separated pedestrian routes, improve traffic operations. We want to consolidate those Highway 100 access points, improve connectivity, and then limit construction impacts. So we're getting a greater efficiency by combining both city and county projects into one. And this is the project. The orange are 2 new bridges. The project's going to start at Interlochen Boulevard on the west or the left-hand side of the graphic, and it's going to go all the way over to Grange Road on the east side of the highway and the right-hand side of the graphic. Orange again are 2 new bridges. One's over CPKC Railroad. The other one is the bridge over Highway 100. The purple are big wide sidewalks on the outside of the facility. Yellow is paving, and red is concrete medians. We're adding dual left turn lanes on the Highway 100 bridge in both directions to improve traffic operations. We're also adding a left turn for westbound Vernon at Gus Young Lane to help with those operations. The interchange at Highway 100 is called a tight diamond interchange. Our timeline, we've been working on this for 5 years, and we were federally authorized in July of 2024. Working with the railroad, there was some delays on agreement with the railroad, but we are now getting close to construction. So we awarded a contract last night, City Council. This afternoon, we have a pre-construction meeting. I know there's questions on detailed schedules of when we're doing certain operations like the noise walls and some other stuff like that. I don't have it yet. I may have it this afternoon after the pre-construction meeting. Some work may start April 21st under construction or under traffic, but the real big date is April 23rd for construction. We'll start with road closures. So that's a key date where the road's going to be closed starting April 23rd. So next Wednesday. You'll start to see more equipment showing up. They'll start doing some smaller operations, and it's really going to be a ramp up of operations over those first few weeks. So it's not going to be the 23rd, everything is happening at once. It is going to be a ramp up of operations. The completion date that's in the contract is November 15th of 2025 to get the road, reopen the traffic within the district. There will be some closeout items in spring 2026. So the biggest impact, I think, for residents, property owners, businesses is traffic. So this is what's going to occur on Wednesday morning next week. This is stage 1 construction. So you can see the closure just east of Interlochen Boulevard. You'll still have full access of that intersection going to Gus Young or Vernon. Then you'll have the closure between Interlochen to the off-ramp of 100. But the off-ramp is still going to be open. You can take that exit. Still take this exit southbound. You're just going to be sent through the intersection to the off-ramp up over to Arcadia. In Arcadia, you can decide which direction you're going to go and where your destination is. Then the spots between the northbound on-ramp and southbound off-ramp are going to be closed for that bridge work. But the on-ramps from Grange and the off-ramp at Grange and the on-ramp going northbound 100 will all be open during stage 1 of construction. There may be some tweaks to this, but this is what's going to be out there starting on Wednesday. Stage 1, we're roughly saying next week through late summer. And it's very similar to stage 2. Stage 2, we're just adding in constructing the intersection of Interlochen and Vernon on the left-hand side. Very similar operations unless we've tweaked it for some reason to stage 1. So this stage again, late summer, early fall. It'll be pretty similar that whole time frame from a traffic operation standpoint. You're going to see additional signage on the highway for businesses, Grandview Business, Grandview District, and 50th and France District signs as you get off the highway through the district, sending people in each direction for each district. Stage 3A and Stage 3B are going to be the most impactful. That's when we have to close the on and off ramps to build those pieces of the project. At that point, Interlock and Vernon and Dust Young will be all complete. There'll still be a few of the ramps off of Grange that will be open. But if you're coming southbound on 100 at that point, you'll need to go down to either Benton Avenue exit for local traffic, take the frontage, east or west frontage road, or go down the Highway 62 and come back north to take the Grange Road exit. Stage 3B, you can see everything is white, is now constructed. Stage 3B is just the last portion of the northbound off-ramp at Grange that needs to be built. During that project time, you'll have to go up to Excelsior Boulevard in St. Louis Park and then come back down and use the new facility to traverse within the district. This will be probably October. Those last two phases are somewhere in that September, October, November range before we reopen the roadway. How are we going to communicate? Many of you have been seeing a lot of this already. We sent out almost 9,000 postcards last week to residents and businesses. We'll continue to do Friday reports, press releases. We're using social media. We want you to sign up for email updates. And we're doing other online interactive maps and advertisements. The main source of information is the Better Together Edina website. And there is that address, bettertogetheredina.org/Vernon-HWY100. You go to that website, you can sign up for email project updates. Make sure you do that. That website also lists these bi-weekly meetings, 11 a.m. Thursdays. You, of course, know how to get there because you're here today. Share this with other people. This is open to anybody, residents, business owners, whoever's interested. The postcards that went out to businesses, they have a specific outreach website. So if you go to this website, /Highway100-business, there's a separate email sign up for businesses with, there might be some updates related directly to businesses. This map is now available on the website, and we're going to make it available for businesses to publish. People can print and use whatever they need this map for. This shows how people can traverse within and around the district. Red are those closed areas I showed previously. The green arrows show open streets. They have just an arrow on it. It's a one-way. If they got arrow both directions, they're a two-way. Construction areas. I think this was important to understand the construction staging areas for this project. When we close the road, you're going to see equipment all over the place out here, or materials, or their Ames Construction employees parking. The stars are the approximate locations where you're going to see equipment and operations and stuff like that. A lot of it staged on the closed area of Vernon Avenue, where the off-ramps are now available over here on the Highway 100 bridge until that's taken down. The big grass area over by Grange and 50th is going to be utilized. And they are renting half the old public works site at 5146 Eden Avenue. They're going to have a trailer down there, a construction trailer for their employees to have access to the internet and computers and all that kind of stuff. The majority of their employees will probably be parking down there. They are not allowed to park within any business parking lots. So the Devani, they can't park there. Starbucks, where the mall where Starbucks is. Washburn McGravy, Hilltop, any of those parking lots, even over at City Hall. We're going to have somebody out there monitoring. They're aware of it. We're going to put signs up that says no construction parking. We probably still have a rogue individual now and again be in there, but we will make sure to ask them to move their vehicle, equipment. They can't have any stuff in these private business parking lots. The initial plan, they want to remove the Vernon Avenue Bridge over the rail first. That's located here because they want to take that material and all the concrete from the street and haul it over to the big east side grass area so they can recycle it. They want to grind it up and recycle it and use it on the project. So they need the Highway 100 bridge to do that. Once they have a lot of the material over, then they'll take down the Highway 100 bridge. That work needs to happen overnight and weekends so we don't disrupt all the traffic on Highway 100. We don't have exact dates yet. The contractor's working with the railroad to get flagging permission and some other conditions. So that's first. And then once we know roughly those schedules, then they'll look at also scheduling the Highway 100 work and those lane closures. Throughout, if there's any changes to the traffic control, to schedules, to any of that, we're going to go back and blast out information to all these channels. So make sure you sign up for the emails, check the website, all that stuff, because there will be changes. There will be more better updated schedules for specific operations. There will be dust, noise, pile driving, crushing operations. So it's going to be a very big, impactful project to the area. But the area is open for business. We want people to come in and frequent the businesses, get to their spots both in Grandview and 50th and France, and use the sign detours. And then I'll just end on this one. There's a few graphics that were produced of what the product's going to look like when it's constructed. So the one on the left is you're on the crosswalk looking at the big wide sidewalks that are now exist. There is no sidewalk on the south side of this Highway 100 bridge. New crosswalks, all ADA compliant, pedestrian push buttons, new lights, new railings, both sides, and then the additional left turn lanes just see in the picture. And then the graphic on the right is the photo if you're driving northbound on Highway 100. That's what the new bridge will look like from the highway view. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing. If there's questions, add it to the chat and we'll monitor the chat. Or if you can raise your hand and we can get those questions answered for you. Looks like we got 28 people. I see a mix of both city staff. I see some resident names I recognize. Metro Transit on the call. Looks like Edina Schools is here to learn about it. So thanks for coming. We're going to post this online if people want to look at the slides or the video. We'll do that later today. Question, is there anything to be done on the southbound ramp by Old G? Great question, Chris. That ramp will be closed, but most likely next year. So the purpose of building the whole interchange is we'll have full access, plenty of capacity to limit those dual lanes when you merge down going on the southbound 100. That is one of the highest crash areas in town. We want to leave that ramp open during this work so we have access. It just makes it easier for everybody if we can leave it open during this work. But most likely that will be closed in 26, and then everyone will be routed to Vernon and 50th. Is there any way to convince me otherwise? Sure, we can talk offline. We got traffic study to support it, and we can definitely have those conversations. How noisy is the concrete crushing? It's a good question. We don't think it's going to be like 5 months of crushing. It could be a week or two of crushing. It is a noisier operation. I don't think it's as loud as the pile driving we did last year at Grange and 50th. So we'll monitor that. We'll look for appropriate hours for those type of operations. So yeah, we'll keep working through that and keep telling us what you're experiencing out there. Susan, I've already seen backups on Highway 100 when exiting from the north. Seems like there's a potential hazard for traffic backups on the highway. Yes, MnDOT, we're very clear, the project partners, that we need to do everything we can to limit direct backups from that off-ramp back onto the trunk Highway 100. So the contractor's already aware of that. They may flag people through during high times that are having the stop sign there. They might just flag people through to make sure that we're not backing up operations on Highway 100. During those detours in stages 3A and B, there's going to be backups. You're going down to 62. You already see them now before any project. Those are the ones I see in the chat at this time. Other questions? On the website, my name, phone number, emails on there. We're going to have a on-site representative, Derek Houston, who's on this call. His photo, contact information will be published. He'll be really the go-to person on day-to-day operations if you can't get a hold of me. So we're going to have people that are available between Derek and myself. Carrie, I see a question. Let me see if I can unmute or unmute you here. Let me see what I can do.
Harry, you should be able to unmute your mic and talk. Oh,
I hit something, Liz. So if you had it, just do it again.
okay. You should be good, Carrie. You just have to unmute your mic.
Okay, well, she's working on that. I see Penelope. Can we make the right lane of 62 dedicated to getting on 62 and 50th? Not exactly sure what the question is. We make the right lane of 100. So I assume you're traveling southbound and you want to get off either westbound or eastbound. Any modifications to Highway 100 we can ask, but most likely will not be implemented with, we can't use shoulders. There's a whole process to get traffic to use any additional space on a highway. So that's most likely not a temporary measure that would be considered as part of the project. Gary, did you get the mic or type your question in the chat? We can help answer that. Or you can call me after and we'll answer your question. Looks like you're with Edina Schools. Susan, looks like there's a lot of trees that have been removed. There were some trees removed, yeah, around all the bridges. There were volunteer trees that have grown over time that were removed. There were a few on the northbound on-ramp to make room for a new noise wall. There's a noise wall going to be built from the Minnehaha Creek up to 50th. There were the pine trees at Washburn McGravy that had to replace, so we can adjust the sidewalk, add the ped ramps, improve that area. If there's space, we'll be adding trees. There's not a lot of space after the project because we're tying into a lot of commercial business areas. So where there's room, we're going to do trees. There may be spots where we took some that there's just not room for trees. So yes, we're looking at the trees. Ryan had a question. Last year when 50th and Vernon was closed, traffic coming from northbound 100 onto Eaton was very heavy. Is there a way to alleviate some of this? Great question. For me, I think there's a little bit more capacity for traffic. Eden's going to be the east-west connector, that's for sure. But now you can also use Grange Road and that portion of 50th north of City Hall. So I think depending where you go, that should spread traffic out a little bit during the detour. But it is going to be heavy again and similar to last year. Thanks for that question. Harry, we still didn't get you for get your question here, but what else? Oh, thanks, Gary. We got your question answered. Appreciate it. Is the Gus Young Bridge really able to hold all this traffic? Well, when I read that question, so Gus Young Bridge can hold, right, from a structural standpoint, can hold all the weight that it needs to for traffic. We don't want people using that as the primary detour. Primary detour is going to be Vernon down to Eden. There's stoplights at both those intersections. I think that's the best way for traffic to get around the district. If you're, of course, going to Devani's, we want you going to Devani's and using Gus Young. If you're going to the Starbucks or other businesses in that mall, use Gus Young and go that way. But all traffic should not try to cut through there, because then there will be some issues. So typically with a road closure, the first 2 weeks, people find what they feel are their best ways to get around. It's messy. The first few weeks, we got to be patient as people determine their best routes to get, whether they're going to businesses, to work, or just around the district. Bill had a question. Will eastbound Eden at 50th be free flowing or still have stop sign? We're going to start with a stop sign. There may be an opportunity to adjust that later in the project. We also have to be aware that people coming out of Sunny Slope neighborhood, if they take a left, they're going to be on there. So we have to worry about the right-of-way management and kind of mixing of cars. There's possibly with 2 lanes going eastbound that we dedicate anybody coming from basically City Hall or Sunny Slope neighborhood to use the north lane. We could make that free flow right and then merge that traffic down further on 50th. So yeah, great idea. And we'll continue to monitor that and see if that's a possibility. And that's what we want to hear from people, of what you're experiencing beginning next week. Brian had a question. In terms of project goals, I recall correctly that at least the Vernon Avenue Bridge over the rail is also at the end of life. Yes, this project was really started with a Hennepin County project to replace that bridge. Structurally, it needs to be replaced. When they were designing that project, they went for regional solicitation grant funding. And they got the funding, and as that design started happening, the railroad has height requirements under the bridge that raised that project up, and the limits would hit the Highway 100 bridge. They used federal dollars to build their project. We would have a gap that we couldn't do anything between the bridge and Grange. And we know there's a lack of sidewalks, lack of turn lanes, lack of those project goals that we had stated in that slide. So the city submitted an application and got grant funding to do the other portion of the project. So then the 2 agencies merged the project into one big project. We want to build it over 1 year versus over 2 construction seasons to limit impacts to everybody and be more efficient with all the grant money and all the other funding sources that are being used. Yeah, Brian, great question. What else? We had up to over 30 people. That was great. We had over 30 last time. So, of other people, make sure they get this link, and we'll be back here in 2 weeks. There may be a meeting where I can't attend, and we'll have somebody else covering it that time that happens. Other questions? And again, we'll post this recording, the slides to the website. And when I get that more detailed schedule, I know there's people that want to know exactly when those noise walls are coming out, when the new ones are going in, and a few other those kind of details. We'll make sure to share that information when we have it. Awesome. We're at 11:25. Not seeing any other questions, comments, other than some thank yous. So I appreciate that. And again, join next time if you got questions. We'll post this information. Appreciate it, everybody.